Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm discussing one of my favorite lenses and why I don't really use it that much anymore. And you know, it's kind of funny to say that. It sounds weird to say that it's one of your favorite lenses, but you don't really use it that much. But anyway, today we're discussing the Nikon 70-200 2.8. And while I think it's a great lens, it absolutely is an incredible lens. It just doesn't always fit my needs and my style when it comes to photography, specifically portrait photography. So anyway, let's get right into this, why I really don't use this lens that much anymore. So first of all, just to give a little bit of a backstory on my photography journey, if you will, I started with a D7100 with a kit lens, the 18-140, and it was cool. You know, I just had bought that camera and got that kit lens because I wanted a camera to bring on trips, and I went on a lot of school trips, and I thought, man, if I had a big camera, it would be a professional camera. At least that was my thinking at the time, and that was kind of ignorant, but anyway, that was my thinking. So as I started getting more into photography, I started upgrading my gear. I got like a 51.8 and got a couple other lenses that I eventually sold and switched out and all that type of stuff. But anyway, I got this 70-200, and at the time it was the VR2 version by Nikon, and it was just an incredible lens. I mean, it had the sharpness, it had the shallow depth of field, the good subject isolation that I wanted. It had, the beautiful colors and just the contrast. It was just a perfect lens for me, and especially because I started getting into portrait photography. It just really probably was a lens that got me most interested in portrait photography. So as I started upgrading my gear more and more and more, even after the 70-200, I got like the 85-1.4 by Nikon. I had the 24-74 time, then I sold it because I didn't really use it that much. Currently now I'm using like 35mm by Tamron, a 50mm by Sigma, and a 28mm 1.4 from Nikon. And as I started developing my style more and more and more, I realized that the 70-200 was not always practical, and it didn't always give me the look that I was going for when it came to searching, portraits and all that. And so what happened was that it basically faded out for me. And really, as of right now, the only time I really use the 70-200 is when I'm doing like a wedding or something like that, where I need to be a little bit farther back from, say, like, the very front, because you don't want to get in the way because you want the guests to see. So anyway, I would be farther back so I could use this because it gave me, a good focal length range in order to use to get the shots I needed. And so, I just really don't use it for portraits that much anymore. And as sad as that is, it's not saying that, I'm not saying that it's a terrible lens. Obviously, this is the FLED version, the brand new version. Some call it the VR3. It's an incredible lens. It's sharp. It's basically has all the same attributes as the previous version, except it's just that much better. You don't have as much focus breathing and all of that type of stuff. You have better VR in this, and overall, it's an amazing lens. Fast autofocus, everything about it is amazing. But it doesn't always fit my needs as a portrait photographer. And so that's the thing. It's still one of my favorite lenses. It's still a lens I'm going to keep. It's still a lens that I adore and appreciate when it needs to be used, but it's just something that, as far as portrait photography goes, I just really don't use. Another thing about this lens that kind of makes it cumbersome, if you will, is that it's kind of heavy. Now, while I do usually enjoy heavier lenses and bodies, sometimes carrying this thing around for an hour, 2-hour shoot can kind of fatigue my neck or whatever, because it's just, you wouldn't think it. I think it only weighs 3 or 4 pounds, maybe 5 pounds, if that even. But it really does start to fatigue your neck or your shoulder after a while, and it just doesn't help in that way. And the other thing is, while it is a great lens and everything, like I said, it just doesn't always give me the look I want. I've actually started using my 85-1.4 a lot when I'm wanting a more telephoto look, but not so telephoto that it looks super, super compressed. Like the 85 for me is a perfect focal length for portraits. It really gives me that beautiful subject isolation because of the 1.4 aperture that I have on that lens, as well as it just looks pretty natural. And the other thing, as far as portraiture goes, the other lenses I've been leaning on are like, especially this new 28mm I just got. I love the look of that. It just really gives this really natural look to the images, kind of this lifestyle, street photography look. It just looks very real to me. And I've really been leaning towards that style of photography. And I honestly am starting to like primes more. So that's another reason why I'm kind of not using this as much anymore, because this is a zoom. And while, like I said, it's a great zoom, I'm really enjoying using my primes and actually manually zooming, if you will, moving closer or further or farther away from my subject. I don't know, it just kind of challenges me as a photographer to get things done when you're using, say, like prime lenses and stuff. It's a totally different experience, and I kind of enjoy that experience a little bit more than standing in one spot and zooming in and out. Anyway, that's kind of my story on the 70-200. Like I said, it's a beautiful lens. It's one of my favorite lenses still. I just don't really use it that much when it comes to portrait shoots. Wedding photography shoots, I'll usually pull it out because it definitely aids in getting certain shots that I may not always be able to get, especially if I have to stand far away from, the bride and the groom. I'm curious, do you own this 70-200 lens? This is the FLED version once again. Beautiful lens. If you own it, do you use it a lot for portraiture? What do you use your version for? Or maybe you have just some other brand of a 70-200. What do you use that for? I'm curious, so let me know in the comments below, guys. And before I go, by the way, I do want to mention that my buddy Josh and I are going to start live streaming every last Monday of the month. And basically, we're just going to be talking about different things in the photography world. We're going to be doing discussions, maybe gear discussions, editing discussions, all that type of stuff we're going to be covering in our little 30 to 45-minute podcast last Monday of the month. The first one starts September 23rd, and it begins at 9 p.m. Central Time. Actually, I think we're going to try to start at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please share and also subscribe to this channel. And if you haven't already, hit that bell because that will let you know when I make a new upload. And it just really helps me out to get more people, aware of the channel and all that. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you all have a great day. Bilingual out.